Right now we've allowed the paint for the sky in on the tree, and actually all of the paint to dry overnight, and it's tightened up pretty well. This is not even tacky anymore. I did use a liquid medium, which kind of pushed it along. This is the green. It's dry enough that I can add a layer on top, but this morning, we're gonna go back and work this sky one more time. I'll be using liquid and maybe a little turp. I don't know yet, but we'll see how it goes. But I want to define this a bit more, get a little more color in it. We're about to reach our maximum saturation on the blues, but we can push it a bit further, which is what we're going to do now. And I'm going to come in here and lay in. Now this is just cerulean blue. I had put the ultramarine on as a base, and I will darken the corners up. But right now I'm just kind of saying that this is the darkest part of the sky, and I'm going to work it down. I'm going to leave some high stratus clouds, and I will be darkening these corners. So now I'm going to come in with a bit of ultramarine blue, and the same brush, just trying to stay out of the way until I can get the right camera set up, which I'm working on too. But now this is going to come off as being a little darker than the center. I'll run a line across the top here as well. And what that helps to do in this case is to kind of push your eye down this way, because the darks will kind of influence how you're seeing the total picture. So we'll do a little bit of this, and then we'll let it dry. I've got a lot going on today, so I have to make a few trips into town, go get some feed for the animals, and that'll give this a chance to tighten up a bit more. I'm kind of at a point where I've decided that we're just not going to do any drama in the sky. We're going to keep it simple, just for demonstration purposes. And after I get this new channel up and going, then I'll be adding different ones about different cloud formations and such, and probably print out some reference photos so we can just put it right here and try to copy a part of that photo. Probably not. No, let me get this over here. And for these purposes, I'm going to go pretty quickly. You spend a lot of time just working out all the little flaws in the atmosphere. I'm going to light this up now. Actually, I'm using the same brush. When I'm using this, when I'm working a big area like this, I'm not terribly concerned about changing out brushes. I do rinse it, but I find that you can achieve a degree of continuity by having a bit of residue from the sky into this white, unless I'm just really trying hard to get a specific effect. I don't generally worry about changing brushes. Now that's not true with a still life or working with a portrait or anything like that. That's only when I am doing skies or some broad expanse. Now, once again, we're just going to imply some, and let it dry up, and then I can always go back in and tweak a little cloud area if I think it needs it. Go ahead and pull some clouds up a little higher. These are almost on the horizon. So I really don't want to do one right in the middle, so we'll just kind of float off to one side and just apply a little bit of cloud. My red retriever, Sal, let me start over. My red retriever, Rock, got in the studio, and he is below me now, pestering me to throw the frisbee. He has to have something to retrieve. I've thrown it quite a few times already this morning, so he doesn't give up. So I may have to usher him outside in a minute. Now there's flaws in this. I can see countless number of corrections that can be made, but once again, I'm just going to kind of push through this one to make it a demo that is not all drawn out. I do plan on doing some longer demos that you can you'll be able to download and maybe do a total of 3 hours or something like that on a demonstration like this. But that's going to be coming up in another week or two probably. Pollen's kind of getting to me here. I don't know which one it is, but actually mowed the yard yesterday before all the rain started, and I still haven't shaken that stuffiness that comes with mowing the yard without a mask on, with all the pollen in the yard. I'm going to lighten this up one more time over here. I like a little bit of gray back there. Kind of gives it a little something extra. So let's go in here under these trees now. All right, and like I said, the green is drier, so now I'm going to clean my brush. And actually, I'm just going to keep this brush. It's kind of the workhorse, so we'll keep it. Now, what I'm going to do is use this green as the base, but I'm going to dilute it with some white and some blues here. The one that's going to be closest to the original color is probably going to be this right in here. So let's start as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, about 7 trees in here. So I'm going to take a bit of white and some medium and some of the cerulean blue and go back in on top of this. I'm just going to blot it in. It's got another one coming, another layer or two coming. Add a touch of green. Pushing it up into the sky a little bit. Come back and define some things. Now I'm going to take a number 3, what was a flat, but it's kind of worn into more of a curved shape. Now, let's see here, and pick up a little burnt umber. Tree trunks aren't white, I mean brown. At a distance, they kind of lose that. But I'm going to go ahead and leave it in there for now. And I might pick up a little spot of black. Just help to find that now. Always good to see a limb or two coming off. I'm going to kind of stick some spots in here. They'll disappear, I'll work over them, or if I think they're good, then we'll leave them. But that's just some branches. And I don't know if you've ever watched a Polaroid photograph develop. This is old school. But as it develops, you can't really tell what it is. And you'll think, wow, that's not what I took a picture of. But it slowly develops, and then it becomes a good copy of what you have done. But anyway, it's kind of like this. This painting, most all, any type that I do, goes through stages of completion, and they're not always recognizable for what they're supposed to be, because it's only at a certain stage. Now I'm going to go to the dagger, and like I say, this is getting to be one of my favorite brushes. It's a number 4 dagger. I'd used them quite often, but now I'm just getting partial to it. So I'll be using it a lot throughout the process of painting this. We got a post going back here. And this here is just going to be like a feeding slot. It's basically, I don't know the wrenching name for it, but it is an opening that has some boards, planks or boards going vertically up and down, and there's hay stored in here, and you can pull these doors closed, oops, and throw the hay here. So you just have a couple bales of hay in here, and you can have the cows come up and eat from that area. And let's see here, I decided to put a small porch out here. I'll rough that in for now. Now I'm going to do some shadows that are being cast by the edge of the roof. Shadows are warmer than than what you think. They're not all cool. So I'm going to warm it up a little bit. By that I mean I'm going to add some brown, a little bit of blue. We're going to go back and darken it once more. And this roof is actually probably attached, but I'm going to make it appear that it has a drip edge here. Drips onto this one and then runs out. So now this is going to be the top of the roof is going to catch the most light, so I'm going to go back in with some white and some of the tin color, which is just blue with a dab of brown, burnt sienna, burnt umber, I mean. Set it on there and begin to imply that there's small bit of tin showing outside of the last rafter. Then we're going to have a lean-to, one back there. I'll change these colors up. They're a bit bright right now. I get our roll going on this. I had a cup of espresso coffee. Maybe I should go back to the plain old stuff. A little shaky. I'm always a little shaky, but all right. Rough, a little more shadow back here. Something to hold this lean-to section up. There's going to be a feedlot, I guess, back here. I might call it a covered area for the animals. And we'll correct that in there. I'll pull some trees down or lift some trees up. I wonder how it'd look if I were to come in here and have that tree maybe not going. Well, we'll leave it like that for a while. Now, should I go up with this one or down? I'm going to go bring this particular tree, which is the one in back of this, up some into the sky using the old first brush that I had. I'm going to stick with that green. And separate it from this tree back here by kind of going up into that a little bit. Now, once again, this is just another step in the process. All right, now, if we're going to have that, we can actually add a bit of a shadow back here. Get a little separation. I'll hit this with a little sunlight in a minute. We're going to disrupt this. The tree is kind of overbearing, so we'll go ahead and kind of bring it back around this way. So use a little darkening for now. And like I say, at some point I'll go up and correct that line that's showing through. Let it tighten a bit. All right, now we're going to start kind of forming these trees. That one, it's okay. We'll go with it for now, but I'll be shifting the colors again. I suppose a truly gifted artist could get everything right the first time around. I'm not that person. I have to go back and change things. And also, I think by changing, it gives the viewer more opportunities to learn or to see mistakes and then how you might correct those mistakes. So maybe it's not a bad thing to go back over everything a few times. Let's see, that's still too green. Blew it up a little bit. Listen here, it's a little light, so we're going to come back and fix this tree a little bit later. Using the same brush, and it has the same amount of blue, so I'm actually losing blue as I come this way, which is what I want to do. That one there, I'm just going to have to let that dry. I've got a a gap showing there that I don't like. All right, so we're gonna make this maybe a couple trees. I'm gonna go ahead and go back with my small brush and add a couple trunks in here. Let's see here. Let's put one way over here, and one back in here, a little further back maybe, and then something going on back in here. I may bring these down to the ground or whatever. I'm going to put a few limbs in. They're probably not going to stay in, but like I say, they'll help us understand what's going on with a particular tree later on. Now, these are all just kind of merging together in the distance, so I'll separate them with tonal values later on, but not right now. Too dark right here, we'll lighten it up. I'm going to attempt to lighten that up a little bit right now. Just by kind of daubing. Also use some of the blacks that I've laid out here to help blend in a little bit. Now we don't really have to have defined individual trees. If they're all just kind of merged together, then that'll be convincing as well. All right, so we're going to let this dry again. These are all too dark, but I want to add light colors on top of them. And kind of define some green. I don't want that there. Just want some green stuff where there might be a bit of a field background. Also, I'm going to go back and lay in some greens now for some patches of flowers that will be coming next. Flowers have leaves and stuff like that, growth, and grass coming up and all of that. So we're going to kind of hint at a substrata of that now. I've found a picture of a longhorn that I like. I'm going to go to the printer. I'm going to go back in the house in a minute and print this guy out and use a photo reference instead of guessing at it for him. I have a lot of photos of old barns, and I've looked at some and kind of come up with this ideal. This needs work in here. I don't know exactly how I'm going to fix it yet. I may have some exposed sky right in there. Let me dab a little color in and see what that looks like. Actually, I may bring the tree down. So anyway, that's what I'm going to do for now. Let it dry again. Should tighten up. We're getting rain here. And after it dries, then I'll come back out here in a couple hours. Should be tight enough. I can always put a little heat on it. I don't generally do that, but you can take like a hairdryer and go ahead and warm it up a little bit. You have to kind of be careful because you can get some cracks, but we're not going to be concerned about that because I'm not going to try to dry it. I'm just going to basically warm the canvas so it'll dry up a little better. Sometimes I even warm it from the back and the front, just like, actually I have a heat gun, but it's like a hairdryer. And do that for like 2 or 3 minutes and then just let it do its thing naturally. And, an hour later, it'll be where I want it to be, so I can come back and work on it. Now I'm using odorless mineral spirits to clean the brush, and I use a little bit of turpentine if the doors are open to mix with the pigments. Turp dries very quickly. It flashes, is what it's actually called. It flashes off quicker than the mineral spirits do, but it can also break down your sub layers much quicker than the liquid. So I'm bouncing it now because right there, I don't know if you can see it, but I scrubbed it a little too much, and I mean, it took it all the way down to the canvas just about. But this I can correct it or turn it into something that's advantageous to the process of completing the painting. I like the dark against the light. It really makes it pop. And this is way too light, but I don't want to mess with it right now. I'm going to let it tighten up. I'll bring a farm around here to kind of imply that this tree's out. I can do it now with just a hint of yellow. And kind of separate it from the next tree back and keep going like that all the way through. And yellow there that we use. We can begin to get some idea of some limb structure then. If you get a chance to look at trees in the wintertime when the leaves are off, they might not be pretty, but they're it's a great opportunity to kind of study the structure of trees. And every tree, every species, of course, has a little different limb structure. We have a lot of pines around here, a lot of oaks, various types of oaks. So sometimes if I see one that's really interesting, especially if we're going up in the hill country with those live oaks, I take pictures of just the bare trees, and they make great reference photos for things like this. And shoot, I keep hitting that darn spot there. I'll try to cover it up one more time. Right in there. We'll let it dry and then we'll Alrighty, that's it. I'm gonna go in and do some other chores, and I guess it's probably noon right now, and then come back out about 3, and I think when we come back out, I'm going to, I tell you what, when we come back out, we're going to do this guy here and get most everything done on him as far as shading and shadows and shapes, and major shapes, and then let it dry. And tomorrow we'll start in the back and work our way up and get some colors going in. I want to see some soil, not all flowers. I think we talked about it on an earlier video. And soil can be really, really interesting colors. They don't have to be sandy or whatever. So we'll be adding some soil in as well. My problem is painting fast. I see the perfect stroke, and then before I stop, for some reason I quite often hit it one more time, and it just you can't get that stroke back, so I've lost it. And at this point, now I'm trying to slow down a bit and give myself time to see something and stop before I erase it, you might say. So, let's let it sit there. We'll go in. I have to go to the store and a couple other things. Get that kind of stuff out of the way. I heard the chickens. Sounds like everyone is laying now, so we'll go gather up a half dozen eggs. See if the neighbors need any. We have a hard time using 6 eggs a day. We use 3 or 4, sometimes 5. But, so, let's see here. Let me step back and look. I hope everyone can see that it's beginning to come together. I'm going to be adding shadows in here, and that'll help it. Like I said a couple times before, this color is too light. We'll be coming back in. I'll probably hit the sky once more, maybe add some more of the really, really high clouds. And just continue to work our way forward. And then when we're almost sure that it's finished, we'll come back and really get down to the small brushes and trying to do some detail that's very loose without it looking like it's detail. So we'll use optical illusion almost to produce an illusion of detail, but when we look really close, we'll see that it's kind of done quickly and not as detailed as what we had thought when seeing it finished and from a distance. All right, that's it. Come on, dogs. Let's go in. Come on.